Hi, I'm Chandra Luckett, Chris 180's Chief Marketing Officer, and we are on location today at the Chris Counseling Center DeKalb office right here in Brookhaven. And we are thrilled to be here to bring you the first edition of our Candid Conversation series for 2023, where we're talking about New Year's resolutions. Are they good or bad? And how can they help cause you even more anxiety? Today, our experts will shine a light on what you need to know in order to prevent less stress in 2023.
I am Carol Pitts. I am Clinical Director of Chris Counseling DeKalb, one of Chris 180's counseling centers. At our center, we see adults, adolescents, and children. We see individuals, families, and couples. We pretty much work with everyone. And one of my finest counselors is with me.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and I'm a therapist here as well at the CCD location, working with all ages, all walks of life.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a great topic. New Year's really does bring a lot of anxiety for people, and for a whole lot of reasons. You know, some people come in because they're frustrated that they didn't accomplish everything they wanted to last year, and they set lofty goals for this year. It's going to be the best year ever, and I'm going to have the best year of my life. Some people come in and they are exhausted from all of the hype with the holidays and the frenetic activities, and then there's this lull after the holidays, and it can be cold and it can be rainy, and people get anxious with the uncertainty. So there are a lot of reasons people feel really anxious at the new year. Do you notice that in your work?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure for the new year, a lot of expectations. Some people feel anxious about setting goals and starting over and having change in the upcoming new year and what that's going to bring. And setting goals is scary for some. That causes a lot of anxiety. I have a client who is worried about the new year because the past year was so bad. So we have that kind of anxiety and stress that comes with it.
Yeah, and that's difficult. And change, I think, really creates a lot of anxiety for people too. People get really comfortable, and then the thoughts of change, they want to change, but then it's really scary because you don't know what change entails.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown.
The fear of the unknown is significant. Yeah.
A lot of worries in there. A lot of pressures to start again and start something totally new, and what that even looks like.
And I think planning, you know, one of the hard things about the unknown is we feel so out of control, and there's so much that is beyond our control. So one of the best things we can do, I think, is get organized, you know, and create a plan of little steps that can help us meet a goal. It's helpful to have one goal rather than to have a slew of New Year's resolutions.
Right.
And if we can focus on one goal and the concrete steps I can take in creating a plan to achieve that, it's going to make it much more successful.
And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up sometimes too, is that what goal am I setting? What do I do? And that's where we come in to help plan that out with them.
Right.
What do they want to achieve? And then more importantly, what keeps them? What fears do they have underneath that of reaching that goal, of even taking those steps? And sometimes that past trauma comes up where that might keep them in this loop, or that fear from starting.
Yeah, and I think a fear of failure also comes into this. You know, already it's January, and we have people who have planned to have a dry January and they're already drinking. Or people who have got great weight loss goals, but they've started to gain weight again.
The gym is always packed on that first week.
The gym is packed.
Then it slowly trickles out.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, and I think one of the important things that can be real helpful is remembering that we can start over every day. We can't go back and change the past. What we did yesterday, what we did last week, we've already done. But what can we do now? And how can I be gentle with myself and say, okay, what can I learn from this? And then can I start over tomorrow? And maybe make a goal a little more achievable, rather than I want to lose 25 pounds this year, to say, okay, I want to eat better and feel healthier and snack less and lose 5 pounds.
And what I love with that is working with clients on when they did miss us, when they didn't do what they wanted that day or that week, and talk about that. Like, what happened in that time? What kept you from doing that? What got in the way? What fears around that? What are some thoughts behind that?
Yeah, using it as a learning experience. And it's a learning experience into who I am and what is it that I can do differently. Because that's another key piece of coping successfully, I think, with the anxiety is looking at what do I control. Because so often we want to control what we can't control. But we can control what I put in my body. We can control how much I want to exercise. We can control whether I'm going to drink tonight. We can't control changes at work, changes in our job. We can't control how other people treat us. We can't control traffic, but we can control our reactions and how we frame it and think about it.
Absolutely, and that's where I was just thinking with that control, and there's things out of our control and how you react to that.
Isn't that considered like thought reframing? Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, like really putting, like, how do we accept that? And how do we react to those, like, flat tire that kept us from going to the gym that night? And what steps did you take? So a lot of that, did it totally mess up your whole entire night? Did it escalate you to worse thoughts? And really working on reframing and bringing back that power, and problem solving is a big part of that. What steps can I take?
So instead of blaming the construction site for leaving a nail in the road that made my tire flat, I can say, darn, I have a flat tire. Now what do I want to do to get it fixed?
Exactly. So that's where the power is, and you feel more in control of some parts of that, some parts of your life. That helps decrease that anxiety.
So that's a really healthy coping skill to look at what do I have control of, and really focusing on that, which can be my thoughts, it can be my feelings, it can be my reactions, and it can be my actions.
Right, and then that's where we see a lot of the dysfunctional ways to cope. And that's where the trouble is, because it might not really be solving it. A lot of people stay stagnant. We see a lot of addiction, drinking. One thing just triggers, the whole worst steps.
Unhealthy eating, unhealthy drinking, blaming, and that can be blaming others, and it can also be blaming ourselves, because I think we can really get in a negative cycle with anxiety when we get frustrated and then we beat ourselves up. I'm never going to be able to do this. I can't do this, and comparisons with other people, so-and-so and so-and-so, they've all been able to do this. Why can't I? I'm just a failure. And then that thinking triggers a whole nother round of anxiety and dysfunction.
Yes, the comparison is so bad right now with all the, social media. I hear that a lot, and a lot of people compare, wish I had that, or I should be doing this, or like you said, they've done it. How come I can't? And then you get stuck in that loop.
Right. What I like to tell people when they're comparing themselves is, you're comparing your inside to their outside, to what you see. And we don't always know what's on the inside of other people. And we also compare ourselves to the people who we perceive as somehow having what we don't have, not compare ourselves to the people who aren't as fortunate as we are.
That's a good point. I always tell clients, we can't read people's minds. You don't have words written across your head for people to know what's going on in there and how hard they struggled to get there, maybe, or the steps they took.
Right. And I think that's another really important piece in dealing with anxiety. Because when we're anxious about the new year or anything else, we often do a lot of mind reading about what people are thinking or what people are saying about us. And realizing, wait a minute, that's a cognitive distortion. I don't really know what you're thinking about me unless you tell me.
Right.
So really helping people to check things out before they make kind of assumptions about what other people are thinking and feeling.
And sometimes that inner dialogue is what we're thinking. It's what you're thinking, so you're putting that out on other people.
Right.
They must be thinking about that about me.
Right. So I think another that's connected to another piece, I think, of really dealing with anxiety, and that's self-care. because one of the things we often don't do is take really good care of ourselves. We often set very high expectations of what we're going to do, fail, get all upset about it, rather than treating ourselves with kindness and thinking about what can I do to take care of myself. And that may be doing a little bit of meditation, or it may be taking a bath with some nice music and salts.
Right.
It could be relaxing and reading a book, or going for a walk, or patting my dog.
That therapy is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling, like I said, walking, some exercise is good. Even if it's not going to the gym and doing exactly what you had planned, getting out a little bit of doing some physical activity.
And Anne-Marie, you do a lot of work with children,
Mm-hmm.
and anxiety is kind of big with kids now too. What would you suggestions have for parents to help their kids who may be struggling with anxiety?
Yeah, really talking to the children, getting on their level and really listening to help calm. If they hear parents stressed out, then they're going to pick up on that. So it's really how they communicate and how they can be there to nurture and give that love to the children too, and talk kindly to them so they learn how to do that. Listen to their worries and work on building that resiliency and the problem solving even at young ages.
So part of what I think I hear you're saying is that if parents really actively work to take care of themselves and manage some of their own stress and anxiety, that's a way of taking care of their children as well.
Yeah. The children learn how to do it then. Yeah.
So they learn by modeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it also sounds like there's a place in the home for parents to really give the kids permission to be able to relax. So many kids are so driven, and to be able to emphasize the importance of being relaxed and being able to take time for themselves and explore how they think and feel.
Right. And like you said, the opposite of that nurturing, giving them that space is putting too much pressure on them.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get straight A's and push. Nothing wrong with wanting to get straight A's, but also working on that stress and how to navigate and manage your time.
And I also think that while too much anxiety is a bad thing, there are times where a little anxiety can be really helpful. And so I want to be careful that we don't demonize all of anxiety, because if we have a little anxiety, that can be high motivation. Okay, the key is to have a little bit and not too much.
Right.
If kids are a little bit anxious about a test at school, they're going to have a little motivation to study.
Yeah, they want to do well.
They want to do well. And so learning to cope with anxiety helps to really build resilience. And I think that's something for us all to work towards and to begin to celebrate and recognize that we can come out stronger by experiencing the anxiety and learn how to cope with it.
And I think that helps with that fear of the unknown, because you have power, you're empowered and you feel more secure in yourself to say, I can get through this, or I can work on how to handle that unknown that may be coming my way.
Which means we're more capable of effectively dealing with change.
Absolutely.
So, ladies, as we wrap up today, we'd love to know how you each personally handle New Year anxiety and any tips you want to give from your own personal experiences.
Okay.
For me, it's really looking at what I'm able to control and what I can't control. And it's being able to roll a little bit with disappointment, because I don't always achieve what I set out to do, or not as quickly as I want to. So to be able to be flexible and say, okay, I didn't accomplish this in the first month of the year, but I've got 11 months and I can still go ahead and do some work on it.
Give yourself a little grace.
Right.
Yes, it's good. But yeah, it's all, the thoughts behind it, what we're thinking, and how we can talk to ourselves kindly and, inspiring yourself, like you said, not putting too much pressure on it and managing your time.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today in this conversation. And as I said, we have 11 more months to make a difference. in your lives and in the lives of others. So if you need help, Chris 180 is here for you. You can come visit us right here at the DeKalb office or at any of our other counseling center locations. For more information, you can just go to chris180.org and make an appointment. We'd love to have you. And if you're looking for ways to get involved in 2023, also check out our website for great volunteer opportunities as we start a new year and with the same mission of healing children, strengthening families, and building community. Have a good day.